Hello and welcome back to Run the Atlas. Today I'm talking about Mount Rainier, the things you need to know before visiting this magnificent national park. I just got back from a trip to Mount Rainier and I learned so many things that I wish I would have known before visiting. So if you're visiting Mount Rainier for the first time or you're a day guest, you're definitely going to want to stay tuned to the end of this video to learn all of our tips. So why visit Mount Rainier? Mount Rainier is actually an active volcano that was formed 500,000 to 1 million years ago. It's the icon of the horizon of the Seattle-Tacoma region. This is a magnificent national park. It will take your breath away. I mean, the waterfalls are just majestic. There's parts of this park that feel like a rainforest. There's parts that feel like you're in Alaska. This is nature at its finest. It is nature at its purest, and it is to be revered. This is not a normal mountain. This is the king of mountains in the Pacific Northwest. And it rises 14,410 feet tall, making it the tallest peak in the Cascade region. If you're short on time, the two most touristed places in the park are Sunrise, which is in the north, and Paradise, which is in the south. They're about an hour and a half away from each other, so it's doable within the same day, but we recommend visiting one or the other if you just have a day or a weekend. Sunrise offers some of the best views of Mount Rainier. You can plug in your GPS to the Sunrise Visitor Center, and it'll take you right there. You can also hike the Sunrise Rim Trail, which is known for its majestic views, and this is the highest point in the park reachable by vehicle. Paradise also has some really gorgeous views as well, so definitely be sure to bring your camera. Another point of interest is the Grove of the Patriarchs, which are these giant trees. There's a river and this beautiful footbridge that you can cross over and capture this magical forest. We visited in June and there was about 10 feet of snow on the ground in Paradise. I was really shocked to see this amount of snow in late spring, but this can definitely happen. So check out the National Park Service's website for road closure information. Look at that. Incredible. We made it to the top, to the visitor center. Snow flurries everywhere. It's like pure whiteout. That brings me to my next point, which is weather. The weather here can change drastically. It can drop 30 or even 40 degrees at night. It can change from location to location within the park. It can be really, really windy, snowy, and as you climb in elevation, you're gonna wanna bring more layers. For lodging, you wanna plan your lodging in advance. So I stayed at two different places. I stayed at the Whittaker's Bunkhouse, which is a very basic motel with bunk beds. It was geared more towards hikers as it was very basic and around $100 a night. They do have a coffee shop, and it was a cute little coffee shop. I also stayed within the park at the National Park Inn. This was more of a bed and breakfast. It was much more comfortable. They also had really good food at this location. They had huckleberry pancakes, baked salmon, bison meatloaf, that kind of thing. There was no Wi-Fi, but they did have a really beautiful fireplace where people gathered, and it was a really nice time to just be offline for a little bit. Which brings me to my next point, which is Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is very limited in the park. In fact, you will not get Wi-Fi in the park unless you are at a lodge or a visitor center. Leading up to the park, there's very limited Wi-Fi. So download the map to your phone so that you have that, and bring a paper map. Make sure you communicate to the people in your group where you're gonna be, and have a meetup point in case you get lost. One of the best things about Mount Rainier is it's very close to the metro areas of Tacoma and Seattle. This park is not quite as remote as many of the other national parks, so that's why it can get very crowded. From Tacoma, Seattle, it's 59 miles away to reach Rainier, but the distances are deceiving. So it took us about an hour and a half to get there, so be prepared for some deceiving distances. You definitely want to hike when you reach Mount Rainier. This is one of the main activities, and the hikes are extraordinary. You will see some of the most beautiful waterfalls, some of the most beautiful wildlife, but it can be very treacherous. So when I visited the park ranger station, I noticed a guy who had a huge bandage around his leg and it was bleeding, and he looked like a very experienced hiker. He had all the gear. As I got to the trails myself, I noticed that it can be very treacherous. There's a lot of slippery rocks, a lot of mud. You'll step on the snow and the snow will go right down to like a river right below it. There's crevices, all kinds of crazy drops. So you want to be careful when you're hiking. I recommend bringing hiking shoes and hiking poles so that you can get the best stability. Bring maybe a first aid kit with you. Another good thing to bring is snowshoes with crampons if you are going on the snow/icy areas of the park. Food in the park, that is also quite limited, but you can find to-go meals at the lodges. They have salads, sandwiches, things like that, but options are low, so definitely bring snacks. When driving through Mount Rainier, I recommend bringing a 4x4 vehicle, such as a Jeep. During our trip, we experienced rain and snow. There were a lot of curvy roads, but everything was well marked, so you will see the turnoffs for all of the different viewpoints, and it's very easy to locate them. Another thing I was really surprised about is the visibility of Mount Rainier. I thought I was gonna see Mount Rainier at all times, and I hardly ever even saw Mount Rainier during my visit. And that's because there was quite a bit of dense fog, and you can't see the mountain from a lot of different locations. But I was surprised one of the best places to see Mount Rainier is actually not even in the national park. It's from the airplane. If you're taking a southbound airplane from Seattle, you will see Mount Rainier. So grab a window seat. On your way outside the park, there is a place called the Copper Creek Inn, and this is where you can get some excellent pie. So be sure to look out for that and grab yourself a slice of pie on your way outside the park. This park literally took our breath away. It is sprawling. I could not believe the amount of different types of geology within this park. I saw everything from bubbling hot springs to the spray waterfall to alpine meadows and valleys and peaks and glaciers. And I would love to know, what are your favorite tips for visiting Mount Rainier? Comment below, and don't forget to smash that thumbs up button, share with your friends, and subscribe for many more travel videos.